Have you ever lost so much that you stared at the screen and felt nothing? Not because you didn't know how to trade, but because you lost yourself between angry clicks and emotionless numbers. I used to think I lost because I lacked skill. The truth was harsher. I lost because I couldn't control my emotions. Trading doesn't kill you with a losing trade. It kills you with the obsession to win it back. The market doesn't need you, but you've tied your worth to it. If you've ever felt that emptiness, stayed up all night after a blown account, comment yes. If you haven't yet, comment no, so I know you still have faith left. I once thought trading meant freedom. No boss, no co-workers, no limits. Just me and the screen. But I was wrong. What I called freedom was a golden cage built from the illusion of control. Every morning I booted up my computer like an addict taking his first hit of the day. Every green candle made my heart race. Every red one crushed my chest. I lived on the dopamine of winning trades and died a little in the cortisol of losses. I didn't trade for opportunity. I traded out of fear. Fear of missing out. Fear of emptiness when not in a position. I remember when my account balance was $324. I looked at that number like a dying heartbeat I was desperate to revive. I entered trades without reason, just to prove I wasn't done yet. Each click was a cut into my pride. When the market turned against me, I didn't feel pain for the money. I felt pain for being stupid, weak, and powerless. Money wasn't money anymore. It became my measure of worth. Each loss made me smaller. Each win made me think I was whole again. But both only fed the same monster. The ego that would destroy everything just to avoid losing. At night, I was no longer human. I was a shadow, wandering through red and green charts. My eyes burned. My hand kept dragging the chart like a man hypnotized. Even in sleep, I dreamed of entries, stop losses, and take profits. I woke up sweating from a losing trade that hadn't even happened yet. I thought I was controlling the market, but it was controlling my breath. Months passed like that. Fast food, little sleep, fake smiles. When friends asked, "You okay?" I said, "Of course." But inside, one voice kept echoing. Get it back, get it back, get it back. I told myself I was learning, but I was just running from fear. I said it's only a temporary drawdown, but it was a chain of denial. I opened new accounts, deposited more money, thinking a clean slate could erase my past. But losses leave scars deeper than balance sheets. I started doubting everything. Brokers, strategies, mentors, even successful traders. I read dozens of books, watched hundreds of videos, filled notebooks with notes, yet felt more lost. Because what I was searching for wasn't knowledge. I was searching for forgiveness. One day I just stared at the screen, not analyzing, not hoping. And in the flicker of red and green, I saw myself. Bare, drained, exposed. Trading had never been about the market. It was a war between me and my ego. Each losing trade didn't make me poorer. It peeled away a layer of illusion. Greed, fear, pride, shame, all stood naked before me. The market was a mirror, and I could no longer look away. That night, in the dark room, only the screen glowed. A few $100s left. No anger, no sadness, no regret, just emptiness. A silence so deep it swallowed everything. I didn't cry for money. I cried because for the first time I saw myself. Powerless and lost.
The market kept moving. Cold, indifferent. It didn't care how much I'd lost or how much I hurt. And that's when I realized the market doesn't need me. But I had been living as if I couldn't live without it. After that night, I stopped trading. I shut the screen, sat still, and breathed. For the first time in months, I was just present. Not chasing the past, not fearing the future, just breathing. I started journaling, not technical setups, but emotions. I wrote, "Today I entered out of fear of missing out. Today I lost because I was angry." And I taped 2 lines above my screen. Don't trade when the mind is not calm. Never revenge the market. Every morning I meditated for 3 minutes before trading. 3 minutes was enough to feel where my mind stood. If my pulse was fast, no trade. If my thoughts were tense, stay out. Trading became a quiet form of discipline. No more checking prices at midnight. No more opening charts before coffee. I learned to respect life's rhythm, a slow sip of coffee, a meal without haste, sleep without charts haunting me. I stopped being a gambler chasing wins. I became an observer. And in that silence, I heard myself again. I once thought survival meant winning. Now I know true living begins when you can stop. The market is an ocean. The more you fight it, the deeper you sink. When I learned to float, everything became lighter. A red candle is just movement, not disaster. A sudden pump is just volatility, not a missed chance. The real enemy isn't the market, it's the untrained mind. Now I treat every session like a conversation. I ask, "What are you teaching me today?" The market doesn't speak, it shows. Through candles, through emotion. When I lose, I whisper, "Thank you, I understand." When I win, I say, "Thank you, but I remember the lesson." Trading stopped being a fight. It became a path of growth. I grew calmer, more patient, less greedy. I didn't want revenge anymore. I wanted peace. I began to sleep through the night, to eat a meal without checking my phone, to sit under the wind without worrying about spread or price. I started to live again. I no longer dream of $1,000 days. I dream of one clear, steady day, unshaken by emotion. I no longer see charts as enemies, but as mirrors. Each day I look, I understand myself a little more. Now, Every trade is a commitment, reasoned, planned, disciplined. I no longer fear losing because losing doesn't mean being lost. You only lose when you lose yourself. Trading was never a game of speed, it's a journey of maturity. The more you grow, the kinder the market feels. The calmer you are, the steadier your gains become. Looking back at sleepless nights and near collapses, I feel gratitude. Without them, I'd never have known true freedom. Freedom from fear, freedom from ego, freedom from the need to always be right. Trading didn't teach me how to make money fast. It taught me how to lose with grace, win without arrogance, and live without losing myself. If you're lost right now, don't be afraid. You're not alone. I've been there, staring at a burning chart, hands shaking, heart heavy as stone. I've wanted to quit. I've believed I wasn't good enough. But no one saves you, except you.
There's no magic strategy.
No mentor can free you from yourself. Only quiet growth, through pain, through fear, through facing what you've been running from. Today, I don't call myself a trader. I call myself a student of the market and of myself. Every day teaches patience, humility, and stillness. And I want you to know, the market is not your enemy. It's a mirror. If you look at it with anger, you'll see chaos. If you look with peace, you'll see opportunity. Trading, in the end, isn't a journey to make money. It's a journey to find yourself. If this story speaks to you, if you've fallen, stared at your red account, and asked, "What am I doing with my life?" know that I understand. Trading doesn't just take your money. It takes your confidence, your pride, sometimes your faith. But from that bottom, you can see truth, the part of you that's real. Remember this: you don't lose because of the market. You lose when you let emotions take control. Every losing trade is not a verdict. It's a mirror asking, will you be honest with yourself? If you're holding a losing trade right now, stop. Breathe. Turn off the screen. Go outside, feel the wind, the sun, and life itself. Because peace of mind is worth more than any profit. If this story touched you, comment yes, so I know you're still here, still fighting. And if you want to keep walking this path with me, this path of those who've fallen but refuse to stay down, hit subscribe. Not to make me famous, but so none of us have to walk through the darkness alone. See you in the next video, where I'll tell you about the day I learned how to lose and still smile.